Welcome. Thank you for being here. We're going to talk about magnetic motivation and the role incentives play in shaping great cultures. And in the session, we're going to explore how strategic rewards can not only change employees' behavior and impact continuous learning, but also serve as a powerful tool for attracting and retaining quality talent. We're also going to give you practical tools and ideas that will help you elevate your benefit incentive strategy. So, Motion Connected, a little bit about us. We're an employee engagement platform that helps build habits that matter. And I'm very excited to be joined today by my colleague, Sarah Troup, who has over 15 years experience in this field and has a lot to say about motivation and incentives and rewards. So Sarah, thanks for joining us today.
Amanda, it's so good to be back with great culture in this fall. Good to see you back.
Yeah, it's been a minute. So in speaking about or in thinking about motivation, and thinking about the workplace, I think the bottom line is, people want to be seen, they want to be valued, and they want to feel valued. So, Sarah, why provide rewards and incentives?
Well, you nailed it right there a little bit. People want to be seen, they want to be rewarded. But there are just so many reasons for it. In our experience, I want to just be clear, kind of comes through a points-based rewards program point of view, where we've worked with employers on doing challenges and more, and really focused on wellness, but more recently helping employers also incentivize and reward better consumerism, learning and development. So, across those 15 years, we've seen a lot of things that work. And sometimes we've actually seen some things that don't work so well. And so a lot of that's going to be infused today. But one thing that is for sure that we are seeing is that there's definitely a trend where there's more and more incentive and reward programs. And I mean, if you've been on another webinar or you've been to a conference at all in 2023, you've probably seen this data. The Gallup State of Global Workplace, we are just in a state where employees are disengaged and employers are really having a hard time attracting and retaining employees. So that's what this really all comes back to. And there's a ton of solutions on solving for these issues. But today we're really just going to focus on the one, maybe the more fun role of rewards and incentives and how they play in this area of overcoming this state of workplace.
And employers are getting really creative. So I just want to mention that there's some really unique and fun strategies that are out there.
They almost have to be, right? We're trying to develop these competitive packages that differentiate ourselves from other employers out there. So you really have to come up with some fun things that stick. But from that employer perspective, some of the benefits of why they might want to be using incentives, like we already kind of covered, attracting employees and retaining employees. So when rewards are offered, a lot of times we see an increased loyalty from employees, which helps retain them. Obviously, when you have that unique benefits package, you are giving something more competitive than maybe what your competitors are. If all of this leads to higher satisfaction in the employees, you actually get more internal referrals or word of mouth referrals to come work for you as well. So you want to increase that loyalty and satisfaction. But a couple of other reasons beyond that, beyond this just getting employees to work for us and stay working for us, is that rewards are a really easy way to increase productivity. They can be used to reinforce timelines or production goals, which is slightly different than, say, performance, which is impacted. And the sheer amount of studies that show that companies that have a great rewards program have higher performance reviews, higher customer satisfaction ratings is out there. There's just a lot of data on it. And you put all this together, you're building a great culture, of course, and a positive environment. Employees love rewards and incentives as well. It really helps when employees are looking for employers that care about their well-being. And some of these rewards, depending on how they're structured, can help reduce stress. Or if the rewards are associated with a well-being program, it can foster that sense of well-being. The employees also feel like a connection back to their employer when they have these reward and incentive programs in place. They also feel happier because they feel valued and appreciated. All of this leads to a higher engagement. And then a couple other areas where the employees really can benefit is skill building. So when there's reward programs for participating in additional education, or like I know at our company, we've took people who weren't coders and actually enrolled them and rewarded them for participating in a coding class. That's really just contributing back to the person. And I think the biggest thing that I see over time and just in my research is that employees feel more secure in their job when they get consistent recognition from their employer. They understand where they stand. You can imagine if the employer is completely quiet on how you are doing in the workplace, you're not going to know or feel very secure.
Right. And even in the hybrid or remote environments that we have more today, that's more important than ever. So, well, again, we want to keep this conversational. We want to learn from each other. We definitely want to hear from you. So place in the chat, what incentives do you offer at your workplace? And we're going to move on and talk a little bit about motivation, and then we're going to come back to these and review. So go ahead and drop them in, whatever you offer at your place that really works for you. And any original ideas are welcome as well. So Sarah, do you want to take it away on motivation?
Yeah, I can't wait to see those ideas. We will be putting out a document after this where we collaborate and put our ideas along with yours into that, and everyone will receive a copy. So be sure to contribute. In the meanwhile, while you're working on that, we are going to just take a really shallow look at some of the science and studies around motivation. There really is so much data in this area, and books and studies around behavioral change, but we just don't want to go too deep in this super fascinating topic, but give you hopefully enough to connect a few more dots in your employee rewards program. So we're going to start with the most obvious one and probably the most used motivator, and that's extrinsic motivation. This is a type of motivation that's driven externally outside of ourselves. So that can be the obvious: money. It can be points. It can be tangible items like gifts, company swag, but it also can be very intangible too. Praise and recognition are extrinsic motivators because they really come from the outside. We find that extrinsic motivation is great for a one-time action. So say something like, do this and I'll pay you. Complete a course and get a prize. They're also really great to get a jump start on programs. If you just need people to register or come to the table or come to the overview, extrinsic motivators are really good for that. There is a downfall to extrinsic motivation, and that typically when the motivation is taken away, so can the behavior go away. So an important second part to your rewards and recognition program is to make sure that it also has intrinsic motivation. So if you want employees to be motivated to improve their well-being, develop their skills, contribute to your organization, you have to also incorporate this. So intrinsic motivation are the internal factors that drive what we all do to perform tasks or engage in activities just for mine, yours, inherent satisfaction and enjoyment of doing the task. And this idea is rooted from a famous psychologist named Edward Deci. He developed the self-determination theory, which challenges the traditional belief that the best way to motivate individuals is not through those external rewards, but rather if you can build up their intrinsic motivation. So that can, seem really out there and difficult to do. And so we want to summarize just a couple ways to focus on it. So to infuse intrinsic motivation into culture, you have to keep in mind three things in your rewards and incentive program. You have to keep in mind your employees' need for autonomy, competence, and relatedness. So intrinsic motivation happens when these three are met by the employees, which leads to the positive outcomes in your programs. It also comes when employees are motivated by just their own curiosity or enjoyment of your programs. So specifically, what can you do to help employees meet these three needs? And it's just a couple of specific things. The biggest thing that I feel like I've seen through all these years of doing this is the autonomy, and that's the giving employees choice and how they are going to work towards that reward or incentive. This fosters independence, and it really gets them internally motivated about a project or a program. Show your employees that you trust them too. Maybe it's that they can work on their own to complete that task or that program. You not requiring a lot of proof from them or micromanagement. Competence just comes back to the experience of mastery or being effective in one's activity. So skill building and then recognizing the successes when they're completed. And then relatedness is this social component where employees need to feel connected and belonging with others. So two ways you can do that is through, say, competition or group learning. Either way, even Dici himself says that no single type of reward is a silver bullet. So the best is a combination strategy, using the extrinsic motivators to get that quick start, grab employees' attention, and trying to build some of the intrinsic components to get your sustained motivation and habit building. And I'll just give an example of what that looks like in the realm of well-being. And we've seen both types of programs. Both of these programs have a goal of achieving 500 points. On the left-hand side is an example of a program that is extrinsic only. I call these have-to programs, like you have to do these 4 things, get to the goal point, and then we will give you the incentive. So it's really just saying, do this and we will pay you for these activities. And I've always said there is not enough money in the world to have an extrinsic program only that builds health. There just isn't. Because again, when you pull away the motivator, you do stop the behavior. Instead, if you can infuse some of that intrinsic motivation into your program, it'll be so much better. And so again, the number one thing, give employees choice. How do they want to get healthy? How do they want to get to their 500 points? There's still the extrinsic motivator, but it's paired with the autonomy, choice, trust your employees, build on their skills and their mastery. So give lots of opportunity for learning. Be sure to recognize that learning. And finally, try to put some relatedness in there. And you'll see in this program, it has some activity challenges, which gives employees a chance to compete with each other, talk with each other, and relate to each other. This is a more ideal way to build out those long-term behaviors versus just the short term.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. So let's go back to the chat now. And I was thinking as you were going through extrinsic and intrinsic motivation, I had my health coach hat on. I was very much thinking about
yes.
all of it. Yeah, I was like, everyone just needs a health coach out there. Their organization.
A dedicated health coach, bring it.
Yeah, not just a health coach, but it's so important with intrinsic motivation and bringing back, the feeling, going back to the why. And if people can be drawn into how it makes them feel and put that in a positive place, they're more likely to continue going. And same with exactly the type of examples that you gave between the have to and the combo program. That's what's going to build that motivation and also engagement. So let's go back to the chat. And there's a lot of great ideas coming in. And swag is the big one. So like sweatbands, water bottles, love that. Company-wide recognition, that's huge. That's huge, and it doesn't cost anything. So that's great. Gift cards, gift baskets, prize drawings, wow box. I like that.
Want
Can
to learn
you?
more about that?
Yeah, Patty. Or no, not Patty. I'm sorry. Hold on. Brooke, can you elaborate on what wow bucks are and how you give free coffee? Because that's very interesting to me. Free gym memberships, that's awesome. Cafeteria discounts, referral bonuses, wellness discount on health premiums, flavored water machines, and tuition reimbursement. Wow, Brooke, you guys really are, you have a lot of incentives out there. That's awesome. Okay, cool. Sarah, do you have any more that you'd like to, and we're going to do a big review at the end, like we said, but any more that you want to chime in on?
Yeah, I think I'll save those a little bit later down the line when we go through client examples.
Sounds good. Okay, so let's move on
to, as someone said it, this is great.
the power of recognition. There we go.
It gets forgotten. You know, we get a committee of people together and say, okay, let's come up with incentive ideas and let's do this and let's do that. So glad to see that it was included in the chat, but the power of recognition is so strong. And like Amanda said, so affordable. You know, it takes a little bit of work. It takes a little bit of thought on how to do it. I love this study that just came out just this week, on the power of recognition. And the top 2 points are from that study where they showed that the companies that had strong recognition programs, their employees were 3.7 times more engaged. It also showed less employee turnover. I didn't share that part, but it is in the study. And here, in a time where we know we are in a mental health crisis and a burnout crisis, this study, fresh this year, showed that employers with a strong recognition programs had half the burnout versus those that did not. So a very significant and easy thing that can be done to help us in this crisis mode we're in right now. I always really like scientific things in terms of how they work and why they work. And I loved it in my research. I saw a couple things where gratitude, recognition, highlighting employees increases the dopamine levels in their brain. So this is the pleasure center. This is what makes you happy. And there's a direct link between recognition and dopamine. In general, there's many studies that show that there's a decrease in turnover, like employees are less likely to leave, and overall, just an overall increased motivation when we recognize employees. So it's very easy, very affordable, just takes a bit of effort. Moving on though to ideas on how to recognize. It's pretty easy enough. There's a few here. Thank you notes this day and age, whether they're email or handwritten, are a very easy way to let an employee know where they stand and how much you appreciate them. Gratitude throughout the organization, just stating it in a constant way is a perfect idea. You can do this in newsletter highlights. You can do it in company meetings, like was mentioned in the chat. You can put up posters. One thing I like to do when I'm really excited about what an employee's done, I like to email my gratitude to them on it, but also copy in leadership so that they see that they're getting recognized, not just by me, but even the owners of the company. So just some fun things on how to recognize and what to do. You just have to really get in that habit of looking for opportunities to do so.
Exactly. And making it the big thing, and with anything in well-being, of course, in the workplace and building a great culture, it's all about that consistency. So in a previous workplace, I set up a thank you card station. So again, breaking down as many barriers as possible, making it easy for people to just jump in and write that thank you card or put a post-it up on someone's door, really went a long way.
So
So
you,
we're going to jump. Oh,
you had all the materials right there at the station, Amanda?
yes, we had Post-its, we had a bunch of just blank stationery and a bunch of Sharpies, and it was right in the break room. So it was a very easy, simple way, and really, it went a long way.
That's
It really
awesome.
did. Yeah. So let's go back to the chat, and we want to hear from you again. What exactly do you incentivize at your workplace? And we're just going to pause here and wait for those questions to come in. Certainly, well-being can be, or wellness programs themselves can be incentivized. But are there some unique ideas that you've used that have worked? Let me go ahead and open these up.
Maybe a little tougher thing to think about, right?
Well, and I've even seen at open enrollment, if you by turning in and submitting your forms on on time, that's sometimes so difficult.
Perfect example for extrinsic motivation. You want a
Yeah,
one-time action and you want it done on time.
exactly, exactly.
I think the
What else?
interesting come up a lot this summer for me is, you're already incentivizing people to be participate in the 401k with the 401k match, and they're still not doing it. So like, I've seen additional incentives in engaging with the 401k provider or getting enrolled in that program.
Mhm, absolutely. I've seen that too. I'm opening the question box, and it's just taking a little bit of time here for
I,
comments to come in today.
I can just cover a few that we prepared as well in the meantime.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that, Sarah,
They're
because there
all
seems
just
to be
on
a bit
one
of a
screen.
delay.
The other trend, I went to the National SHRM Show this summer and I just saw a lot of vendors and a lot of products out there for incentivizing basically no action, just ways of cushioning benefits packages with things like lifestyle rewards. Um, so just being an employee, they can get a monthly reward. And how lifestyle rewards are working is that they cater to an individual's preferences, hobbies, or lifestyle choice, or maybe just their individual needs. So, not everyone needs tuition reimbursement or loan payback. Some people want to apply it to meals. Some people want to apply it to Uber. There's a lot of different things. And so rewards that the employer puts out there as part of the benefit package, and that employees can use to their choosing. Obviously, we covered behaviors already a little bit. Wellness programs are an obvious example, but another big thing that we're helping employers with right now is helping employees choose affordable care options when they use the healthcare system. So if they have a transparency tool that they need, or they're trying to motivate people to use a standalone surgery center instead of the hospital with the hospital fees. We have employers that are doing a lot of programs like that for behavior. We also want to see our employees develop into stronger human beings. So when they are working on their leadership skills or collaboration skills or bringing innovation to the table, we see a lot of reward programs around that. And along those same lines, learning. So skill development, higher education achievement, certifications. These are all really endless things. There's really endless things that you can incentivize. I can't wait to hear some of your ideas. The one tip I would definitely say, though, is make sure you're aligning your incentives with the actual behavior you want to see. And I'll give you an example. We had a client who was frustrated that they invested a lot of money into a concierge medicine and telehealth app, and the utilization was really low. So it was a big ticket item, and employees weren't using it. So they asked us to award points in our rewards program for employees to download that app. And you might be seeing where I'm going with this. At the end of the program, we increased the number of employees that downloaded the app. But the other result, there wasn't a significant increase in the actual people using the service. Utilization remained the same. So the behavior that they incentivized with downloading the app, but not actually using the service. So you want to just make sure and really think it through that the reward is tied to the behavior that you want to see.
That's so important.
What do
That's
you,
we Brooke just elaborated a bit on going above and beyond with Wow Bucks. So it can be given to anyone by anyone. So that's really a unique idea, that it doesn't have to necessarily just come from one individual, or HR is just in charge of it, or leadership, that it can be given to peers and colleagues. And that's that's very motivating itself.
yes, peer-to-peer recognition is also scientifically studied to have positive impacts on the workplace.
Awesome. Thanks, Brooke. Okay, so let's move into, go ahead, Sarah.
Well, we have one example of driving those specific behaviors. This comes from Riverwoods, which is a live-in assisted living nursing facility in New Hampshire. They have been ranked as one of the 10 best companies to work for in New Hampshire, along with many other awards and rewards as a workplace. And they wanted to incentivize increased participation in their preventative care services, their telehealth use, EAP use, and health coach use. And so put not only just a rewards program around those 4 items, but a campaign and education all around them as well. And they got what they wanted. Their participation rates basically nearly doubled in all of these categories. Preventative care, 75% of employees engaged in preventative care. And if any of you have seen what the normal national rates are on these 4 items, you'll know that these are really good statistics. Telehealth utilization at 8%, that is higher than the nation. EAP utilization, so employee assistant program, usually runs about 4% and nationwide, and they are at 3 times that at 12%. And their health coaching program had 37% of employees participating. So again, tying the reward to the actual behavior that you want to see.
Exactly. Exactly. And Riverwoods did a really great job of that campaign, and they continue to use it and see positive results. All right, so let's go into how to incentivize.
Well, there are different ways to incentivize, and these have come out in the ideas that you've shared. There's monetary rewards, non-monetary rewards, and then gamification, drawings, competitions, and such, point systems, leaderboards, badges. We'll just take a little tour of some different examples to get everyone's mind going and thinking a little bit differently. I love this example because there was points for a step challenge, but there was also a community donation that specifically correlated back to the number of steps. So employees at Alpha Capital Partners received points based on certain tiers, but they also donated more school items to the education partnership based on the number of steps that they achieved. So not only did this have like external motivation, you get a little bit of intrinsic, because this community outreach helps cultivate feelings of gratitude and positivity. And so this was a really fun challenge that was motivated a little differently than we typically see. And another example of this, and again, making sure that the reward is tied to the exact action you want to see. This was done by an employer in Texas who wanted employees to benefit from the mental health benefits of both physical activity and taking some time off of work. So the challenge was to meet a step goal and to use 2 days of PTO in 1 quarter. And the prize that they offered was a travel reward. And amazingly, 230 employees have participated in the challenge, and every single one of them earned the incentive. So I don't know if that talks about the power of travel rewards or not, but that seems like a really good incentive idea that works well.
And to encourage, I think it speaks a lot to the culture itself, just to encourage people to take PTO, that it's okay to do so. And it was a mental health challenge, of course, but there's so many benefits for that, and breaking down the barriers that we all need a break, you know.
Yeah, I love it. It was a different twist because so often we see PTO as the incentive itself, but that doesn't necessarily mean that employees are using it. And so in this case, they reversed it and made it the action that they received an incentive for. So that was really fun.
Mhm.
I don't know, anyone that's talked to me this summer might have heard me talk about a pizza cutter and how powerful a pizza cutter can be. But Amanda, you said there was a lot of swag ideas in the chat. I really loved this program. This company did a nice job building a very robust resource board communication campaign about the benefits they offer. But they spent about a year building that and utilizing it. Their next step to take it up a notch was we need to get more participants to register for the program, download the app so they can access these beautiful resources that they've built. So to add in some fun and a little bit of company pride, for 1 month, they ran a benefits and company trivia contest. And the prize was a branded pizza cutter. That's it. Nothing else. And the result they also did a very nice job doing a promotional campaign. They sent postcards to the home of the employees. They had tabletop flyers in their lunchroom. And they got in 1 month 200 new participants in their program, which was a 45% increase in participants. So my whole point with the pizza cutter is it doesn't always take a lot of investment and just a little creativity and maybe something that works with your demographics to get the behaviors you'd love to see.
Mhm. I think what's interesting too is that they also utilized different promotional materials that we don't see as much anymore. Sending the actual physical postcard home, that really is something that stands out. And sometimes with organizations, having the whole family or other people in the household see this
Yes.
um, also creates a little bit more excitement, or you really need to sign up and get this done.
Yeah.
Build a little bit
Who's
of that.
more powerful motivator in life than your spouse, right? So
Mhm.
if they're involved in the program, if they can get prizes or they see the communications, they'll get on you. So that's a perfect strategy that they implemented. So some other ideas, they're just listed here. You can imagine through the years we've seen all kinds of things, but yes, company swag is at the top. I write yellow sweatshirt. So we had worked with an organization that for 6-7 years, I think we worked with them. And the way they got people into the program, and they got a lot of people into their program, is you got to earn a special yellow sweatshirt if you hit 1,000,000 steps in the first year of your program. So that was really fun. People would talk about it. It would be a big deal. But obviously we see other things, gym bags, Yetis, coolers, so many fun things. Drawings that matter. And what I mean by this is what fits your demographic? What are you working with? Who are your people? So we had an 1,800 person automotive company spread across maybe how many states? 10, 12 states. Covering all kinds of different cars, and they had a really robust program with lots of prizes, but the main prize being a drawing for a Corvette at the end of the year. So that worked really nice for their employees, that they felt, aligned with that. I also had a demographic where it was 96% male in the company. And so they would do a drawing for a four-wheeler each year. But things where people like maybe wouldn't buy for themselves, like high tech, luxury items, travel vouchers. Again, choice comes back into the incentive idea. Don't just say we're giving away a bike. Maybe it's a bike or a kayak. You choose spa day, golf day, gym membership, new activity tracker. So choice matters even when you're offering the actual rewards. We work with the city of Green Bay, who gives away local tickets to the Packers, or they do signed footballs. So they really make it relevant to their employees. But just even special events is a great idea, special privileges. And more recently, we're seeing a little bit more encouragement from maybe like a week of working from anywhere. Maybe you have remote workers anyway, but really saying, hey, it's okay. You want to go to the mountains for a weekend and still get paid and not use your vacation, we'll give you a work from anywhere week. Or an extend a weekend program I've seen as well. So just take any Monday or Friday off and extend a weekend as a prize. But at the end, you just really want to tie it back to your culture, your community, and fit the demographic of the employees that you have. And again, these will all be pooled with your ideas and other things that have come up in this talk.
Mhm. Wonderful. So just to wrap up on a couple things on incentivizing, Sarah, or when to incentivize.
Yeah, one slide on when to incentivize. There's lots of options, but it can be milestones after the completion of a project, after learning a new skill. Obviously, other milestones include anniversaries, birthdays, things like that. You can have scheduled times to incentivize, at the end of the month, everyone that's accomplished this, at the end of the year, at the end of a quarter. And something that's kind of fun is spot recognition. So sporadic recognition for people that have gone above and beyond. Peer-to-peer recognition can come in with this spot recognition. Just really looking for people that have exceptional contributions or performances and making sure to recognize that. There is an importance to consistency, though. Make sure you stay on task with it and just make sure your incentive rewards feel robust and consistent. And finally, a last tip is if you want people to see and feel all of the benefits, make sure to promote them in a central location when and if possible, or multiple central locations. When you pair it all together, say with your medical benefits, vision benefits, your lifestyle rewards, tuition reimbursement, all that stuff in a central area, that's when employees really feel the value of everything that you have to offer as an employer. That's when they'll do word of mouth referrals. Those are the kind of things that lead to retention. It also decreases employee confusion, and you get better outcomes on your reward investment. And I'll just share a story from one of my employees that I work with. Her husband works at a place that gives away a free day off on your birthday every year. Kind of heard about it at orientation, and he heard another employee speaking about it. But when his birthday came, he didn't know how it worked. Like, is it my birthday is the day off? Is it during that week? Is it month? Do I have to report it to someone? How does it work? He didn't understand. There was nothing written up on it. So as a consequence, he just didn't use the reward, and kind of felt down about it, that it was a reward he didn't really understand. And so that's not what you want to see with your employees. You want them to have very clear lines to how your reward program works and all the great things that you offer.
Exactly. Breaking down the barriers, which was good at absolutely increasing engagement and increase that utilization. So as we wrap up, if there's any questions, if there's any comments, please feel free to drop those in and we will get to them. But to wrap up, Sarah, in building a great culture, there's so many different So many different things that are important, but for those that are really looking to make a change or to elevate their workplace culture, what tips do you have?
Oh, thanks, Amanda. Yeah, I mean, there's so many things, but if you want us to, I guess, stay in line of the topic of the day, every employer I work with has good benefits, good offerings, even if it doesn't seem like it, if it's a high deductible, low, or there's so many great resources, but there's just lack of knowledge about them. So over communicating what it is you offer, eliminate any barriers to employees using and accessing your resources. I think we talked about it today, but just create a culture of gratitude where you're thanking employees for what they do, that they know and understand what their worth is to your company. And that might be in rewards, that might be in incentives, but that just might be in words or even how you open up a meeting. Maybe you start from a place of gratitude versus here's our agenda for the day and what we're going to cover. And I would guess finally, if there's anything we've learned from, how much has changed in the last 2 years, 3 years here, and how much I perceive it's actually going to continue to change. We've got things coming on the horizon. We have AI and all kinds of other crazy things that are coming. You have to be agile. Yeah, I don't think there's the days of let's plan out every and each thing we're going to do for an entire year are really the way to go anymore. You have to have a team that's responsible for creating a great culture, ready to go, and to be a little agile to be able to adapt to everything that's going to be coming our way in the next couple of years.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you for your time, and thank you all for being here. We have a really wonderful session planned for next month, Wednesday, October 25th. Join us then for our next Great Culture session, and we're going to speak with Nancy Biber at WA Group, and we're going to really get into benefits utilization and the importance of your employees knowing what the benefits are, how to use them, and breaking down, we talked about a little bit here, breaking down those barriers and increasing overall literacy. So make sure to register for that, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.